National Wills Week, initiated by the Law Society of South Africa, aims to assist South Africans in drafting their last will and testament, addressing the alarming issue of 7 out of 10 adult South Africans dying without a valid will, preventing potential family disputes. Grant Fietze, Executive Manager, Marketing at Capital Legacy, joins us for a discussion on the impact of not having a will. Grant, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. Perhaps let's talk a little bit as the week winds down, National Wills Week winds down, of what is National Wills Week and why do we even have it in South Africa to begin with?
Yes, thank you very much for the time. Yeah, National Wills Week was set up by the Law Society several years ago, specifically to address the fact that we're seeing 7 out of 10 South Africans, as you said, passing away without a valid will. And what it was designed to do was designed to encourage law firms for 1 week of the year to draft wills at no cost for clients. And so over the last few years, we are seeing more and more clients getting their wills drafted, but there's still a very big gap that we need to fill.
In terms of understanding the importance of a will and what exactly it is in terms of composition and the importance of having one, how would you explain that?
So a will is a legal document that basically outlines when you pass away who gets what. It deals with your assets, it deals with your beneficiaries. It's also a place that potentially, if you have minor children, you can nominate guardians or potentially set up testamentary trusts for your minor children.
And the role of the executor, what role does the executor play?
Very, very important. So drafting your will is the first step, but within your will you would nominate the executor who would actually wind up your estate, and that person basically, or that entity or that company basically needs to go through the entire process of winding up your estate, all the admin, going through all your assets and liabilities, and ensuring that your final wishes that you've drafted are actually executed.
What happens in the instance where one passes away without a will?
Well, there's a number of things that happen. One of the most important things that happen is that there is normally chaos and confusion. Where you haven't drafted and documented your final wishes, you're basically giving up the ability or the chance to control how you want your assets to be distributed. And so what happens is then your estate is then subject to the law of intestate succession, which means that your assets will be distributed via a very set formula by the state, which may not be what your final wishes would have been, and potentially people that you don't want to inherit from your estate may end up getting assets.
National Wills Week took place from the 16th right until the 20th of September. I mean, you made mention of how it was a platform for people to access free wills. What happens to those who may have missed it? How much does a will cost, and how accessible is it for those who can't afford it?
Yeah. So if they have missed National Wills Week, it doesn't matter. They can get their wills drafted any week. I think National Wills Week just gives us the platform to talk about it. But I think one of the key things is that people don't get their wills drafted for one main reason, is that they simply put that off their list. They just procrastinate. They just don't get around to doing it. In fact, we did a survey last year and we found that up to 49% of people that hadn't had their wills drafted knew it was important, but just didn't get around to doing it. So even though Wills Week has come and gone, we encourage everyone to put it onto the top of their list and get it done.
What about people who may say they haven't accumulated many assets, or perhaps believe that wills are for an elite few? What would you say to those people?
Yes, so people often think that number one, getting the wills drafted is a difficult process or a complicated process, or that it's a very expensive process. But what we've done over the last few years is we've made the process a lot simpler and a lot easier and a lot more accessible to more clients. In fact, on average, we're helping nearly 15,000 new clients every month get their wills drafted. People often will say, but I don't have lots of assets and lots of stuff to leave behind. And our answer to that is the first step of the first purpose that your will serves is to provide clarity for those that you leave behind. Where your assets grow, then it has more control there. But I think that the first thing is to provide clarity and help your family avoid chaos.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. As, of course, we wind down National Wills Week, some of the important factors surrounding wills. Speaking there to Grant Fietze, who's the Executive Manager at Marketing at the Capital Legacy, joining us for that discussion and describing the impact of not having a will.